Hello old-timers and newcomers. I am keen to share my thoughts on StarRupture in early access coming, well, 2025. This is of course a It takes a little moment for the textures to all load in, as you can see, and well, that's not too good, but this is also an early playtest for a early access game that's coming only autumn 2025. So, small technological user interface, small little niggles like that are to be expected, and honestly, I don't have too much to criticize it. What I can tell you is what I did first moment I played the game, which is just say, look at how beautiful this game is. God damn. It's so freaking pretty. It's made me realize what Satisfactory is. It's given me a perfect comparison counterpoint to what Satisfactory is, because this game feels like Satisfactory taken that further step beyond. This feels a lot more mature than Satisfactory did. Satisfactory felt, I don't want to say cartoony, but it feels less serious than this game in many ways. Starting which, yeah, you see that? In Satisfactory you ain't gonna see any bodies lying around. Especially not those desiccated to the point of horrid unrecognizability. Nor are you going to find... Well, actually, that's a lie. I was gonna say you're not going to find any of these pieces of tech lying around, which is not true. There's plenty of that, actually. But, well, there is a bit more to it, which I'd like to talk about. But first, we are going to go on a trip through this admittedly beautiful area. I mean, just look at the texturing of these flowers. Look at the butterflies, look at the distance, look at the draw distance, look at everything. I mean, I was gonna say this has a Death Stranding vibe, which isn't entirely accurate, but...
Acquired.
It just feels so much bigger than Satisfactory, and it feels a lot more serious. It's not an ugly game, and it's not a colorless game, it's just a far more realistic game, in my humble opinion. Mind you, there are not entirely realistic, of course. Case in point... Oh, there we are, thank you. These meteors are constantly well, not constantly, bombarding the planet in waves, and of course to crack them open we have this nice little spicy tractor gunny thing. I'm not entirely sure what it does. Which is not reloaded, but does need to have its heat purged not to overheat. Obviously. Now, another thing you'll notice is the difference in base construction, the way it is different in Satisfactory. Starting with the conveyor belts. Instead of many belts feeding an unending slew of materials across vast distances, we have these little rails that can be connected to one another, from one another, and multiple rails can intersect over one another with materials from one heading over to another, and it is all controlled by these, well, nodes, for lack of a better word. Starting with the miners over here, where the basic raw materials are excavated from the ground, and then ferried over here to the smelters, which refine them a little bit more, and then they are sent to either the factories, fabricators, or the furnaces. All of it powered by these solar array panels. Already this feels a lot more realistic than Satisfactory, and there is a system to the rails that I think is very, very clever. You see how they all intersect like this, and then split apart, and so on? Let's see if I can find a good example. Okay, I can't really find a good example. But let's say you have two nodes, let's say two miners that connect to the same network, to the same rail. Both their materials will intersect alongside one another, but then they come to one of these dividers here. The materials will sense where they are needed. Let's say one material, yeah, I know.
Gotcha.
Let's say one material is going to one of these, and another material is going to another one of these. The two different materials from the miners will find the node that they are wanted in and go that way, like artificially intelligent railway cars almost, which I feel like it feels a lot more realistic to how something like this might work if it were ever implemented in real life. Because this way you can use one conveyor to carry multiple resources. Multiple miners can utilize the same rail as efficiently as possible to, you know, just stuff materials onto them, and then they will be automatically divided depending on where these materials are needed. That is a detail I very much enjoy compared to Satisfactory. A detail I don't so much enjoy is another thing that actually makes this game a bit more realistic. The Fixit likes to say it does not waste. This game does not overflow. Because not only do these rails sense where the materials are needed and carry them to those destinations, they also feel how much is needed. An aggravating example of this is this here furnace. It can produce as many as 97 ceramics and keep them in storage within the furnace before it's sent off here to this storage, which carries also 100 ceramics. And then they are further divided into these things which shoot them up into the sky, depending on whether or not you have 5 corporations which you can send these materials to, but they are the ones who decide what they are interested in and why and how much. The problem with that is you can send literally thousands of these units of whatever it is up into the atmosphere for these corporations to do whatever it is they want with. And like I said, all of these containers, all of these minor stops on the journey, they can hold at most 100, depending, well, at most 100 ceramics. Then there are 100 canisters of helium-free. Then there is 100 calcite sheets. I think the only exception to the rule of 100 is the building material, which we find over here, which can keep as many as 1,000 units of the thing. Now, as you can see here, in order for me to utilize the helium-free in the production of, well, ceramics in this case, I needed to connect the furnace to a supply of helium-free. Guess how freaking far away that is. Do you think it's over there? No, 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 no. That's where I get the calcium for the ceramics. No, that band over there, it carries on and on and on and on and on above that hill and far away. We'll wait for him to return one day. I don't remember the song. To the deposit of helium-free that I found over there, and it took me, I think, almost an hour to find it, and that after spending like 6 or 7 hours just in this immediate area that I am in. Now, like I said, the system senses how much is needed and how much it can produce. In Satisfactory, all of these lines would be stock full of materials that were just being produced more and more and more and more and more over a massive amount of time. But in here, the system senses it can take 100 units of helium-free, and so it asks for 100 units of helium-free. And this can also ask for 100 units of helium-free. And this one specifically connects down there, which carries another 100 units of helium-free. That's all in all 300 units of helium-free, which takes maybe 10, possibly 15 minutes to go all the way down there, down there, down there, and here, and there. That is an optimistic usage of time. Like, this time is the one resource that is absolutely overflowing. I don't actually know if you can finish any of the resource nodes in this game or not. It wouldn't surprise me though, considering how believable everything else is. Except for the writing, that is very cartoony. And that is another difference from Satisfactory. This game has voice lines, this game has characters, this game has a story other than whatever nonsense the computer spouts. Which is a little bit more distracting than I'd expected to be. Like, in Satisfactory, recently my best friend got me into Monster Hunter, and the character in that game has almost zero personality. And that makes it much easier to put myself into the shoes of that character, and I feel largely the same way with Satisfactory. This game already has someone in those shoes, and speaking specifically about the scientist that I'm playing right now, I really don't like this dude. I think he's an ass. I think he's annoying. I think he's terribly written. I really want to just shut him up, just turn off his personality and just let it be me and the computer and whatever player, probably Bean. You'll meet Bean one day. Yeah, I would much rather just have it be the three of us, not whoever this guy is supposed to be, and why I'm supposed to care about him, I don't know. So yeah, that's something I don't like about the game. But back to the game, back to the points I do like. Much as I criticize the production of resources that are necessary rather than just keeping on mining in perpetuity, there is a positive about it, which is when I disassemble this stuff, and much like Satisfactory, you will be assembling and disassembling everything you make over and over for a very long time to make it somewhat functional, make it somewhat efficient and reliable. I do enjoy that I don't have to concern myself with all the resources that would stock up this massive belt of bands. Even if it does mean me having to wait so freaking long to get there. But I do like the fact that when I dismantle, I don't have to concern myself with as many resources as I do in Satisfactory, having to either destroy or put them somewhere, usually up my ass, because it's the one place I can fit them. Now, another detail that I like about the game is in Satisfactory you have one corporation. You have the Fix-It Corporation, which you are either indentured to or working for, or as far as I can tell, it's not very clear. And that is, again, very deliberate on part of the developers, I think. Here we are convicts being sent across the universe to create Australia, and part of our punishment is mining for resources and developing the planets that we are sent towards. Now, in order to properly serve our whatever society this is, a very capitalistic one, I imagine, and yet I feel strangely liberated coming here. So, don't know how to feel about that. When the final material that we are creating is done, and it has been carried all the way over to the orbital cargo launchers, you can choose one of 5 corporations to send the materials to. And each corporation will will reward you with new blueprints that will help you in your investigation and exploration of this planet. For example, Future Health Solutions will... Oh, sorry. I can choose where to send materials there, but I can't actually see what they will give me. To do that, I need to go over here. And give me a second. There we are. To the corporate terminal. Future Health Solutions, well, they generally tend to keep me alive in one way or another. They are a pharmaceutical and medical corporation. So, let's say you just want to explore, you don't need anything else. You just want to explore, you're comfortable going over vast distances, just keeping track on the map, keeping track of where you are, keeping track of what you're doing, almost a bit scoutish, then this is what you'll want to focus on. If, however, you want to focus on the mining aspect of everything, then you'll want to go with the Selenian Corporation and the Space Mining Corporation. And, for example, it starts with the very basic necessities that you'll need to progress and play the game as a whole, which is the base core, which I'm not sure, but I think it protects you from some kind of planetary radiation or something. I do know in order to build any machinery, it needs to be within the umbrella of one of the base cores. And then there's the basic printer, there's the excavators, the smelters, the habitat, the fabricator, the helium-free extractor, it goes on and on. The Griffith Blue Corporation, that's your defensive acquisitions. Then there is the Moon Energy Corporation, which helps power everything that you're making. And then the Clever Robotics, which gives you, well, all the infrastructure that you're going to need. This is a playtest, and it's an early access playtest. Okay, it is a playtest of an early access game that has not yet been released, but will be this autumn. Meaning not a lot of everything, not a lot of everything the game has to offer has been revealed just yet. This is just a taste of what we can expect. And in the cinematics for the game, it's hinted that we can apparently build entire freaking cities with buildings that become skyscrapers, with infrastructure that includes drones and cars and robots, and a lot of things are hinted in the cinematic, which I am very hopeful to see in the future of this game. How exactly the cities are going to function, ignore my roleplay partner, how exactly the cities are going to function, I'm not entirely sure, considering you can, I think, at most be 4 players cooperating on the game. But I am very much intrigued, because from what I've seen so far, if this is just a taste of what is to come, this game may just about blow Satisfactory out of the water. Let me show you what I mean. Here we have the map. All of this that you see around here, this is me walking around and discovering things all by my lonesome with a... not a field of view, not a draw distance, but... well, for sake of simplicity, with a draw distance of, I suppose, maybe 50 meters in-game, something like that. I am right here in this mess of things, and you've already seen, and you saw how big the factory area I built is. We wandered all the way from here, and it took, I'd say, 3-4 minutes tops. And I zoom out, and you see how freaking big all the area that I haven't explored yet is. And here's the thing. In the initial release of the playtest, is that accurately put? I'm not sure. But in the initial release of the playtest, it said that of the map, 15% is revealed to us in this game, in this playtest. Now, in my cynical heart of hearts, I'm quite sure they mean out of everything that will be included in the game, 15% is on the map. But if what they're saying is this entire massive area, it's 15% of what the final game will be. then yeah, just on that, this game is blowing Satisfactory out of the water. There is so much room already. If we can expect this to get even bigger, then I can scarcely imagine everything that's gonna fit in here. I'm not kidding when I say, just in this starting area, this feels like the size of the island in Satisfactory. If I were to walk all the way from where I produce the helium and all the way to, well, to the giant shield area, which is as far west as I've gone, I'm pretty sure I've walked across the map of Satisfactory. Or at the very least, I very much get the feel that's what I've done. And you're telling me this is 15% of what the final map will be. Like I said, I'm trying to rein in my expectations, remind myself when they say 15%, they probably mean the map is filled with 15% of what the final game will be. But still, if the entire area is 15% of the final game map, I can scarcely imagine everything that would need to be done in this game to make that happen, but I am very excited to find out. Like, this is something I could spend literally years on. I very much hope that is the direction they go for. So, what else? Oh yes, the reason I came back here in the first place. Oh, sorry. It is an literal airlock. Here we have all the excess stuff that I have gathered. 12 hours in, and everything that I have gathered fit in these 6 boxes. Fix-It may not waste, but they certainly overproduce. Just the fact that I've played for 12 hours and this is what fits, and this is all the excess I have in these 6 boxes, which all contain, well, 12 boxes each. You see how they don't... You see how... The point is made, the point is made. What I actually wanted, though, is the armory.
Gotcha.
And I want all of these, because, friends and germs, we are going all the way back to where we began. But yeah, there is a sense... I just have to say that again. There is a sense of scale to this game, which Satisfactory does not have. Like, this feels open. This feels like an actual world. This feels like a proper landscape. And I would so very much like to explore this in virtual reality. However, when I tried to integrate the Unreal Engine virtual reality mod from Praydog into the game, I'm not entirely sure what was going on, because the game connected to the headset and I could move my point of view with the headset all around. But for some reason, none of that was played in my headset. I was just shifting my gaze in the screen here, and I don't know why. All I'll say is early access, so of course, and I'm doing things that I'm not supposed to with it. So of course I can't blame the devs or anyone else for that not working. Now, it is time to build just a little. And we begin with an elevated platform, I think it's called. Supported platform. Because, well, for some reason, you can't just build straight on the floor. Although you can place the habitat straight on the floor. I'm not sure why. And you'll soon see why I am doing this. I'm putting another one there. Oh yeah, this is another point of realism which I feel I was very much alone in always missing in Satisfactory. You see here. Here we have one supported platform. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 normal platforms. Did I miscalculate or something? Okay, what happened here? Okay, here we have supported platform, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. There are limitations to how you can build, which are, I was gonna say based on it. That's the wrong word, but inspired by reality. Like, you can't build anything too far out without it falling down, and you can't put things floating in the air in reality. You can do that in Satisfactory, which makes it very creative and very fun. But I don't know, I feel like adding in the limitation of something of more realistic building principles, I just feel like I don't know why I want that, but I feel like that limitation would make the construction process more interesting when you have to consider things like that. I mean, it's not like we don't have room to explore, even in Satisfactory. Okay, but back to the thing I was doing. Let's see, did I put... I think this was a supported platform, but I'm putting another one just in case. There, and there, and there, and another supported platform. I am a bit superfluous with the number of supported platforms I have. Oh, there was another bug you saw. Even though I had the dismantling tool equipped, I couldn't dismantle the thing. So I needed to switch to the miner thing and then back to the dismantling tool. It's a minor annoyance, but well, it does exist. I'll just acknowledge it and move on. There we are. There, and another one of these. There. There we are. And let's see here. We want a defensive turret. Oh, right. Thing I don't like, in order to rotate anything, you have to press R. That in itself isn't a problem. However, you can only rotate one direction, and the only way to put it, and the only in order to change the height, you use the scroll wheel. It just bugs me that I can't, say, holding R and then rotate it. I would really, really like that implemented. And another thing, I can't swoop the building blocks the way I can in Satisfactory. I have to put them down one by one by one by one by one, which does get annoying when you when you have to make entire damn fields of the things. So that is something I hope to see changed. But if I get back to the point for a moment, and I put all these lovely little tortoises out. I don't know why I just called them a tortoise. There. And now we need some power. Solar generator. Oh yeah, like I said, you can't build outside a base core area, which is the umbrella of the, well, base core. So we of course need to build one of those. And it is there. Let's put you here. Like I said, I'm not entirely sure what this thing is shielding us from, but it's shielding us from something. Now, back to what I was saying about the power supply. There we are. Rotate around. As far as I can tell, it doesn't actually matter what direction the solar panels are put, but, well, I prefer to keep them in the direction of the sun. And also it doesn't matter whether or not they are blocked by another solar array or not. Let me just bring this one a bit closer. And on that note, I'm not sure why the building materials are sushi. Like, look at the symbol. That's
Increased disruptor activity. I recommend finding a safe place.
okay. Things just got clammy. But also pretty damn fun. Free, 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 you are armed. Free, 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 you are armed. Free, free. What? Is that it? Okay, you two, give me. And give me. Thank you.
Gotcha.
You're up. Now, let's hurry. And this is what I like the most about this game compared to Satisfactory. Do you see them? I do! No? Where are they? There! They are. In Satisfactory, there are enemies. Fair enough. But they don't outright attack you unless you provoke them. And they don't go after your bases. But these things do. And funnily enough, they are called vermins, and what's going on? Oh no. Okay, run, 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 run! No, wait, what am I doing? I don't have to run. I have to do another thing. I have to build. Building, building, building. Habitat, thank you. Woo! 11 seconds. No, that's a window. I don't want that. There. I am in. 3, 2, 1.
Raptura's core is unstable. Head to safety immediately.
What is happening, you may be wondering? Horrible, horrible things. That's something you never want to hear. I cannot tell you how terrified I was the first time that happened to me. I had seen the cinematics. I thought that was, you know, I was gonna say drama, just epicness for the sake of epicness. Every, I'd say 15-20 minutes, the star that this planet is revolving around, Raptura, or Raptura, I assume it's Raptura.
Temperature within acceptable parameters.
Yeah, it freaking incinerates everything on this damn planet, leaving everything scorched and unfunctional. Until it starts to cool, unless of course you, like it says, hold E to remove temperature. And then, in about, let's say 5 minutes or something, little by little, the plant life will start to regenerate, the streams will start bubbling up, and little by little, everything will return to normal yet again. How? Because this is the planet where Doomsday was born! Superman villain who could come back from anything because he was born on a planet where every time he died, he was brought back to life, so he could basically evolve an ability to resist what killed him in the first place. This has to be that planet. There is no other explanation for it. Ooh. Almost dying. Far as I can tell, the game doesn't have a day and night cycle as such. The incineration of the planet is the closest thing to a nighttime that it has. Which I really hope the devs do something about. In Satisfactory we have a night cycle, but it's not as if it's particularly dark. It almost looks like Pandora from Avatar on occasion. I'd just like some proper darkness, and I'd like some properly scary moments. Because the reason I put up these turrets all around this area before I activated this thing, which, by the way, like it says, it's a geoscanner, which expands your map. Which is a little bit ironic, considering if you've reached this point, you have freaking... If you have reached this point, you don't freaking need to expand the map any further. And like you said, you don't need any technology to expand the map, because much as I talked about how big it is, it took about 5 minutes to come here. Maybe, well, not 5 minutes, but you don't actually need these things, because the area they reveal are about yay big. But again, if this is in fact just 15% of what the whole damn map of the finished game will be, then yeah, maybe a few geolocation thingies would make more sense, provided they really expand how far the geo scanners actually scan. Because right now... Oh. So I hadn't activated it yet. Okay. The area is about that big. But yeah, I went from here to here. I really feel like in order for the geo thing to be at all useful, it might need to be this big. Just to give you a hint, just to give more of a hint as to what direction you need to go, how to get there, and why. %, really? Can it actually be 15%? I would be genuinely stunned in the most positive way if all of this really was just 15% of the full game map experience. But I have to say again, look at how damned pretty this is. But speaking of things that we can come to see in the final game, or at the very least when the early access version of the game is released. Possibly an 85% increase in the... Well, no, that's not right. 85? That's math I can't do. 15, 30, 60. At least 6 times the size of this, possibly. And then there are the corporations that you can send materials to. You can... Hannah. Right now, far as I can tell, there's only 5 levels of things that you can potentially earn from everything that you're mining. But in the descriptions I've read, there's talk about level 7s and maybe more than that. If the game is in fact as big as I have read it will be, then there may be as many as 20 or even 30 levels. At least that's the impression I get between what I've heard of the game in its current form and what it looks like in its current form. And I can definitely see so much potential in here, if that is in fact the direction they're going. What else can we expect? Well, co-op, like I said. Currently the game is only single player. Because, well, according to the devs, they wanted to make sure that the game is fun to play as a single person. And it absolutely is. But I am looking forward to it reaching early access, because a friend of mine got Satisfactory not that long ago, and we have still yet to play it, because I, in my arrogance, want to finish the freaking game at least once before I do that. Why do I make things difficult for myself? Hey look, you can already see the green has started to appear all around us. What else can we expect? Well, actual stories with actual characters, unlike in Satisfactory. Kind of a take it or leave it situation for me on that. I'm not sure what else we can expect right at this moment. I will say again, the cinematics showed actual freaking cities. And I don't know if that's hinted that... I don't know if that's hinting that there used to be cities on this place, at this place, and we are just reclaiming it, or if those are cities that we are supposed to build. Because if they are, like I said, I'm not entirely sure how we fit into that, being at most 4 cooperation, for 4 cooperators. Is that a word? I'm not sure. Beyond that, I'm not entirely sure what we can expect, other than, well, more. Oh! I can actually see the grass grow. I didn't realize that. That's really cool. So, any critiques I have? Well, like I said, the very slow transition from one area of the resource place, of the resource nodes, to another via the rails, when they can only...
A biologist placeholder dialogue.
They can only produce what the system tells us we have the room for. That really bugs me, and I hope...
Arcadia 7 has finished regenerating.
I really hope they find some sort of solution to that, because that feels less like a gameplay mechanic that you have to work around, and more like just the flat-out annoyance that you have to deal with. Another thing that I hope for is the playtest game is unstable, sadly. You see how it lags every once in a while. And every once in a while, when you do certain other things, the game will fail. It'll just plain crash and not exactly explain anything. And there was a list released with the playtest saying, expect these issues, we are aware of them, and we will fix them. And we have been given Discord forums and emails and lots of other things to let us know, to let the developers know what we find and why and when it happens and so on. So yes, it is flawed, but hopefully it'll be fixed. Oh yeah, the reason I brought it up was because I would like to have a quick save button. Because it happened several times that I had an amount of progress and then the game crashed and I had to do it all over again. So I got into a habit of saving every 5 or even 2 minutes. It didn't even need to go take 1 minute before I realized, oh my god, I just did a thing, I need to save right now. And it's a little bit of a ball ache. And if you wonder why I'm only using the first one, that's because that's one of the issues with the playtest. If you save in any of the other areas, the game might not actually save. If the game crashes, or maybe it just doesn't save at all, I'm not sure. So that is something. So yes, I'd like to have a quick save button implemented. What else would I like? Oh yes, of course. Virtual reality. Please. Creepy Jar, game devs, whoever you are. This is what happens when you have a gesture-sensitive camera. Devs, Creepy Jar, if you are watching this video, please, for the love of God, this is unreal. All you need is a mod to have a decent and a decent virtual reality experience. Thank you, Prey Dog, for gifting us that. But please work on a bespoke virtual reality mod. Because this place, this I want to visit. I don't want to just look at a 60-degree field of view or whatever it is. I want to actually be here. I want to touch and manipulate the environment. Okay, maybe that's a bit too much to ask. I mean, that would require physics that may very well break the game. Maybe, I'm not sure. But please, just let me have 6 degrees of freedom with my tools and interactable buttons. Let me be here in the moment. I'd be happy to do it with just a keyboard and a mouse. Just give me the option of playing this game in virtual reality. Please do that for me. I would so very much enjoy this experience if you had that. I mean, look at the fidelity of the textures. Look at the occlusion. Look at the environment. This needs to be experienced in virtual reality. And please, for the love of God, please give us a virtual reality version of this game. Or no, not even a version. Just give us the option to play this game in virtual reality, preferably with 6 degrees of freedom, but ultimately I leave that up to you. I just want to be in this environment.
Dehydrated.
And I'm sure there are things about the game, about my experience of playing it, that I've forgotten to mention, and you're welcome to ask questions. And maybe I'll add something to the description of this video. But for the time being, I'm not sure what else to talk about. The game is enormous. It's incredibly beautiful. It's... The mining and base building is actually built into the core experience, the gameplay of the game, rather than just as a means of progressing towards something. You actually get something, and it's cleverly integrated into the story. There is so much potential here that I want to see explored and I want to see fulfilled. But let's end this video with another surprise that I had first playing the game, which is how freaking scary it can be. Not just when a giant thermic eruption comes at you, but also in Satisfactory you have arachnophobia mode. Here we have gore spiders, and there is an... Oh! Uh-oh! I've just... Oop! Yeah, we have gore spiders and they can't be turned off.
Wait, did I just die? What happened?
A copy of your consciousness is always being sent to the last used regeneration chamber. Welcome to your new sleeve. The first one's free. Each one after that will of course be added to your debt.
Fascinating. So much data in such a short time. I even remember when my heart stopped. Impressive. I'll gladly learn more about this.
And now we know dying is fun. Yeah, the writing of this game, it feels a little bit too cheesy and unnecessary. I really don't like it. I mean, if it was done better, if it was taking itself as seriously as the rest of the game does, then maybe, but I really don't like that. I stand by my opinion that this game very well may be a contender for Satisfactory's top position as base building game. at least as far as I have played them. Oh, right, I lost everything. Sadly, the playtest ends tomorrow, and the very first day of this game is when my computer fan gave out, and I had to wait for a new one to arrive, which I could then put into the tower, which was among the scariest things I've ever done. And that is why I've only played the game for about 12 hours, and why I don't have any more in-depth sites to give you, as the playtest ends tomorrow, unless it is extended for, I think, a third time, which I kind of hope it is. But for now, all I'm gonna do is tell you to wait till this autumn, when the game enters early access and becomes publicly available. Because I'm pretty sure even if they pull a Madmind Studio, this game is still going to be pretty kick-ass. Thank you all for watching. I have been keen but shy, and I hope you will see me again in my next video.